Methods of detoxification. So it does depend on what you are detoxifying. So it's quite important that we are pinpointing it. So if we say, oh, I just want a general detox, that's okay as well. A beginning point for any detoxification is going to be improving your water content. It may be looking at your meals. It may be looking at intermittent fasting. It'll certainly be looking at what is going in and what quality is that, first of all. So this is how we would start to take the sort of heavier loading off the body when it has to break down complex carbohydrates and various different pHs and so forth. So we start by taking the pressures off the body and giving it a little break. We're still not into detoxifying, so to speak. We're just allowing the body to work as it ought to without any added pressures. We might also look at our habits to specifically smokers. And smokers, I want you, if you are watching this, please don't go into any guilt when I say that. They are toxic, that is true. That's fine. But if we can look at ways of making them just a little bit less or reducing them down a little bit. And certainly the vapes, I mean, people who smoke the vapes have got to see how much they are, they're touching those things as much as their phones almost. So phones are another addiction as well. But these things are like, you know, we can reduce the amount of toxins we're putting in, basically. The coffee, the tea, the alcohol, the drugs, the chemical agents, and our other behaviors and habits that maybe are not so good for us. If we're maybe gossiping or using any kind of negativity even towards ourselves, we might start with these kind of things where we're going to clean up our own words, we're going to just clean up our own habits. And just that's how we're going to begin to take the load off, first of all. So when using foods to detoxify the body, we would certainly be removing any of the processed foods. We'd be going entirely onto a vegetable diet, taking out as much of the carbs as well. Still, carbs are okay, but we'll be eating as clean a food as possible. It might be intermittent fasting, which it's skipping breakfast basically, but you're doing it consciously. And improving your use of your juicer. I think the juicer is one of the best remedies you can possibly give to your body. So juicing lots and lots of vegetables is very detoxifying and it's so purifying, and everything inside your body just says yes. It's such a breath of fresh air. So without any compounds at all, we can simply use a juicer, and you don't necessarily have to take out a meal. Some people might take out a lunch or something like that. That's fine. But so long as that you're not hungry and you're getting lots and lots of nutrients in there as well. And we talked about different sheets of the body, different layers of the body. So it's kind of like physical body, psychological, emotional, spiritual, astral body. So sometimes when we're looking at toxins, we're also looking at them through all of the layers of ourselves too. So for example, viral loading can often be found to have begun in the emotional realm. Very, very deep-seated emotions inside get stirred, and the body becomes to be overwhelmed and overloaded and becomes a viral load. So yes, putting in a compound is very important, but also looking at the deeper emotions behind it and using the EFT tapping to perhaps dig in a little to see where these things actually originate from. They come from the unconscious oftentimes, and there are perhaps fears or beliefs that we have. There's usually a trigger, there's usually something that starts it. So for example, it's very common for someone who has maybe been at a funeral or had a large loss to become very ill in the time after. Just so overloaded and overwhelmed. The emotions were so deep that it stirred this up, and then the body actually had a physical reaction to it. This kind of viral loading has helped really greatly using basic herbs from the health store, such as the ones mentioned like echinacea, the golden seal, the oil of oregano. But I would also highly encourage the use of the Bach flower remedies with that. Now there's a list of the full amount of them, and you would sort of have a look at which one of those sort of sings out to you the most. And if you're not sure, rescue remedy is a great one to go with there as well, so that you're treating both layers, and now you really will detoxify the body. In general, bacteria are helped with good bacteria. The reason the bacteria goes out is because there's an imbalance. So when we put back in more good bacteria, the bad bacteria go away. Also, fungal overload occurs when the bacteria is out of balance, because it's bacteria that keeps candida and so forth in check. So yes, the use of antibiotics at any point in the life is reducing the bacterias. So we must put them in at some point in our life. And I'd really encourage you once or twice a year to get a good box of probiotics and to use them. If you've ever required an antibiotic, please remember to take probiotics afterwards for maybe 2 months later. There's also people like kefir, like kombucha, and different fermented sauerkraut and so forth. Yeah, so we're always managing and looking after our bacteria. They inform a lot of the information inside and are really integral to our health. Homeopathy can be particularly powerful, and I find they work mostly on the emotional realm, and it has an effect onto the physical body. So they're very beautiful. They work more, as I said, like in the air ether of the body, in the emotions and the psychological, in the energies of the body. So the homeopathy is a very vast area, but there's great remedies in the health store. And I usually find the girls in the health store are very helpful, but I do tend to look them up beforehand to see which one is the best one for me. When considering chemicals and radiation, radiation is from everything radiates ultimately, okay, and everything has a wavelengths, but certain wavelengths are disharmonious to our field. These kind of wavelengths are in all smart gadgets basically, and all the new tech that we have. It's all creating a radiation field, and I couldn't even imagine how much of like what data and information is in the field all around us, given what wireless has been used. It must be just full. So this is all different forms of radiation. This is our life now. But it is a thing that it is depleting our immune system, okay? And it's doing so, a lot of it is associated with the thyroid. The thyroid responds to radiation. So protecting our self from radiation is the first thing. So we must have some discipline with these smart devices. They are little monsters. They want to suck all our energy. Honestly, they are not in any way like beneficial to be on these things for any length of time at all, really. So having discipline with these devices is integral to your health right now. So no screens first thing in the morning. Have your breakfast without looking. Can you do that? Can you have your breakfast without a smartphone screen? Could you imagine what that's like? That ought to be a normal thing. And that if you realize that really needs a lot of discipline, you must see what these things are doing in your life, completely invading. Being on a computer, there's very high radiation off computers, and certainly it would be a good idea to have your blue light screens turned off by 9 o'clock, which is your smart devices and the computers. The LED lights are another thing. You can get incandescent lights still in the electrical stores, but the room that you're in the most also be great to put in an incandescent bulb, have very clear, nice light without the flickering, and it's one less disturbance for the body. So ultimately with the radiation, what we can do is we discipline ourselves with our own devices. If you want to take that further, you can get silver mats for the bed, you can get silver canopies, you can get clothes. Silver is the thing to block the radiation. You can get entire outfits and everything in silver. You can get cream for the skin. You can go as far as you wish. I don't think it's necessary to go that far because we're already living it. We're in it. It's already happening. Therefore, we just restrict the amount that's in our field wherever we possibly can. The removal of chemicals is generally done through the liver pathways, and I find astragalus is very, very good for removing chemicals. For any reason, we can be overloaded with them, and many of the chemicals we've created ourselves inside of our own body. They can have a hard time getting out, so yeah, we might need some herbs to do that and get it out. A symptom of chemicals being out of balance is often skin rashes, skin irritations, and many other symptoms associated with the liver and lethargy. Heavy metals, this is often associated with like mercury fillings, with aluminiums, aluminium particularly. It's not a heavy metal, but it's a very, very plentiful metal, and it's associated with memory loss. So the process of removing heavy metals is called chelation. Chelation is something that I would consider to do once I have the body working really well and all these other toxins removed, because chelation is something that takes a long time. It takes a very long time to get metals out of the body. So it's sort of a dedication over 6 months, a year. It can go 3, 5, 10 years, like to really go there. It would depend on what your symptoms are, most likely. Maybe you just like feeling better and better and better, like I love to do that. Yeah, so generally there are compounds. We absolutely need to have the large intestine and the organs working really well, but there's specific compounds. And it's simple often as clays. It's diatomaceous earth, it is chlorella, it's spirulina. You get these really nice green clays, which are compounds which grab onto the metals. The chelation means to break a compound down to smaller amounts, and they basically escort them out the door. Ideally, we don't want toxic metals going through the kidneys because they cause damage in there. If we can get them into the large intestine, the large intestine is replacing itself so often that even if it's scraping or causing damage, it'll repair itself. It's fine. So we want the large intestine to take that heavy metal load. Yeah, so there's ways of doing that. There's definitely a lot of different protocols. There's intravenous vitamin C. There's lots of DMSO and compounds that are quite potent and quite strong, and you might have a protocol for 3 months, and you must do a specific protocol and drink certain things, and yeah, you can get a lot of those toxic metals out. And by doing chelation, most people find their brain gets very clear. They find a massive difference in how they think and the clarity of their thought, the speed of their memory. Yeah, their ability to go and pick out a memory and bring it forward very snappy, quite quickly. So chelation is known for cleaning the brain. All the way through it, it's water, 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 oil, oil, oil. The body needs water, it needs oil, you know. And then in that case, perhaps with the water and the oil alone, it might even be able to do the majority of the work for you.